Okay. So to get started today, we're just going to settle into our chair and turn our attention inward, closing our eyes. We're going to drop out of our head space and into our heart space, allowing the attention to rest on that space where the body ends and the air begins. Settling, letting the chitter-chatter settle around us, just like sand settles to the bottom of the ocean. Inviting our breath to be soft and long. Scanning the body for anywhere that tension might be resting. Pausing the attention there wherever there may be tension. For tension is a call for attention. If you want, you can place the palms of your hands on the lower belly, noticing the rise and fall of the breath where it's born. Feeling the palms of the feet grounding into the earth's energy. Lengthen up through the spine. Let each breath be an invitation for rest, for peace, for relaxation. As you find yourself feeling more and more grounded, if you wish to bring your palms up to the rib cage, noticing the way the breath is born in the low belly and journeys and expands into the rib cage. Effortlessly. And calling that breath into the chest region, placing the hand on the sternum or collarbone. Notice the full yogic breath that takes place as the air nourishes the mind, body, and spirit, traveling from the belly into the ribs and up into the sternum. At this moment, if you have any intentions for today's practice, call them into being at this moment. Inhaling them in. And then exhaling them out so that intention does not become expectation. And slowly dropping the hands onto the knees, opening the eyes little by little, I'm going to scoot on to the front part of my chair. Start by creating supple spines with the thoracic breath. I'll turn to the side and see. And I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone just so that we don't have too much interference. But you can unmute yourself at any time, okay? And so then placing the feet under the knees, we're going to sit up nice and tall here, hands, palms on the knees. We're going to do a kind of seated cat-cow where we inhale and arch the back. You'll notice I'm reaching the back of the head towards the coccyx. And then as I exhale, I'm going to arch the spine and reach the chin for the pelvic bone here. All the while, this movement is in the pelvis and the thoracic spine. It's not in the head. It's almost as if the spine were one like floppy noodle, right? But it's all one piece. So I'm going like a flag in the wind, if you will. Inhaling and exhaling, where the yogis believe that both youth and longevity exist in a supple spine, and so we are creating space between the vertebrae, moving with the breath. As slow or as quick as we want it to be. Last time. Inhale, back up to a straight seated position. We're going to just give ourselves a little hug. Right arm over left arm. And gently rock the elbows from one side to the other, being certain that the sit bones are staying firmly planted on your chair. Notice my knees are not moving with the movement. It's a very, very isolated movement in the upper body. And go ahead and put the left arm over the top, give yourself a big hug. And again, letting that upper body kind of twist and lengthen, keeping the sit bones firmly planted. And then go ahead and pause, shake the arms out. We're going to do a little bit of a hip work where we're walking the hips. So you're lifting one hip and then the other, sitting up nice and tall as we do this. If you want to give a little extra challenge, lift the whole foot and leg off the ground. Instead of using your toe to help you raise it, really lift it from the hip. And then come back to center, walk onto the front part of your chair here, and I'm going to have you do circles with the knees. So we're lifting this up, moving it to the side, dropping it down, and dragging it across the floor. Up, out, down, drag. We're building strength in the inner thigh and the glute, but we're also lubricating that hip. Up to the side, out, and drag it in. Inhale up. Exhale it in. Inhale up and around. And keep that core nice and activated, squeezing the belly button back towards the spine. Ooh, my hip is cracking all over the place. And come back to center. Let's do the other side. Inhale it up and over to the side. Set it down and drag it in. Coordinating the movement with the breath. Inhaling it. Exhaling it. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. And then shake the legs out. We're going to open the legs completely. So I'm here in a wide stance. And I want us to put our hands here in the crease of our hips and just slightly lean forward. Okay? Long, straight back, head like you've got an arrow through the crown that runs all the way through the spine. We're just opening up those hips just a little bit. And we're not going all the way over, just enough to kind of put some pressure on the hands that are in those hip creases, like I'm folding over myself. And come up to sitting. I'm going to take my left elbow now, legs stay wide, take that left elbow and bring it down to the left knee. Now I can kind of hang out here. Check in with this hip to make sure it's firmly placed on the chair. And then if you want to add an extra layer to it, take the right arm and stretch it over. I'm gazing up at the inside of my elbow. And go ahead and exhale that hand down. Use your hand to help the torso come back up to sitting. We'll do the other side. Elbow to knee. Check in with that hip to be sure it's really firmly planted on the chair there. And whenever you're ready, add that extra layer. If your arm is only here, that's okay. That's perfect. Okay? Take your gaze and look at your elbow. Breathe into it. Let every exhale be a release. And drop the arm down. Use your hand to help bring the torso back to center. Go ahead and run those legs in. We're going to work a little bit with the knees here. So taking our legs, sitting up nice and straight before we even do any knee work, let's check in with our core and be sure that we're sitting up nice and tall, lengthening through the back neck, squeezing that belly button back towards the spine. We're going to lift this leg here and push through the heel. Hold it. Bend it in and bring it down, okay? So this is kind of like one of the exercises we do quite frequently, but this time we're adding a hold there because you'll use that muscle right there above the knee in order to hold it. Now you'll know you're doing this right if you're pushing through the heel, okay? You really want to push through your heel to make it work, okay? That way you're getting that active leg. Otherwise, it's easy to just kind of flop the knee around and you're not activating those muscles, okay? So I want you to imagine that you have a wall that you're pushing away from you, okay? So we'll start with the right. Inhale it up. Exhale, push the wall away from you. And inhale, bring it in. And exhale, lower it down. Same as we always do, just a little slower. Inhale it up. Exhale it out. Inhale it up. Exhale it down. One more time. Inhale it up. Push through that heel. Exhale. Inhale it in. And exhale it down. Go ahead and shake that leg if you need to. You probably feel it in the hip and in the thigh. Okay, let's do the other side. So,
Stephanie?
yes.
When you're doing that, is your back against the back of the chair?
I actually have a really deep chair here, so yeah. I'm on the edge here, and I'm really working to keep my back nice and straight. See? Because if I do it against the chair, I can definitely do it against the chair. That if I'm in a chair that allows me to do that, but I'm at that point. Oh, you could do it this way too.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
You know, it's a good question, though, Susan. And one of the things that I want to make sure, I can't stress enough, this notion of really trying to, you know, when they say sit up straight, you know, and there's this tendency when someone says, oh, sit up straight, then we push our chest out, you know, and that's like our straight. Well, really what you want to try to imagine is that you have this arrow that runs from the very top of your head, the crown of your head, to the coccyx. So sitting up straight feels kind of like you've got a board, like you're swaddled to a board, okay? And if you're sitting in a chair, it's harder to get that sensation, which means that you're using just your leg muscles, but you're not using the core muscles. So it would still give you a workout, but you're not, you're getting like half of it instead of the whole of it. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. All right. So, but good question. So here we are, sitting up nice and tall, lengthening through the back of the neck, squeezing the belly button back towards the spine. I'm going to inhale the left knee. Exhale, push that heel out. Inhale it in. Exhale it down. You can also hold on to the chair if that helps. Didn't think to tell you that. We've only got 2 more to go. Last one. Inhale it up. Push through the heel. And shake it out. Okay. Very good. All right. So we're going to just swivel our legs now and do a bit of, you'll have to get kind of on the edge of your chair. We're going to do our windshield wipers. We let our legs kind of loosen up there. okay? And then whenever you're ready, we're going to swivel around so that our left foot is at a 90-degree angle, knee over the heel, off to the side of the chair. I'm using the chair as a support. I'm holding onto the back of the chair. And I'm letting that leg, the knee, drop down towards the ground. So you should really feel this in the psoas region, in the front of the leg. And you can be in charge of how deep you take this. If you want to slide the leg back a little further, if you want to add another layer, you can inhale the right arm up. Feel the oppositional pull from the knee to the palm. Really breathing into it. Let each exhale be a release. And then dropping the arm if you added that layer. And then slowly, slowly bringing that leg in to greet the other. We'll come around to the front again and do our little swivels just to make sure we're staying limber and loose there. Finding a range of movement in the hips. And then when you're ready, drop the left knee down towards the ground, facing the hips to the side of the chair. The right leg is bent now. Knee is just over my heel. I'm holding onto the back of the chair for support. And I'm reaching that knee for the ground. I alone am in charge of finding my limits, listening to my body. I can stretch that leg back behind me if I wish, but I don't have to. And if I want to add another layer, I can reach that arm up to the ceiling. Really feeling the oppositional pull from the palm to the knee. One more long inhale and exhale here. And go ahead and lower the arms. Slowly bring the leg in to meet the other. And then swivel back around to face front. Okay. We're going to do a little twist here. When I do my twist, I always try to have something in my knees. It could be a pillow or a sweatshirt or anything else that you have nearby, a book. The reason that we do this is that it allows us to keep a firm core without moving our hips. And so grab whatever is close to you and activate those inner thighs in order to squeeze it so that it doesn't fall. Make sure that it's not something too heavy that it would hurt if it did fall. It could be anything, couch pillow. All right. So placing the back of the palm, the left palm, on the right knee, okay? I'm going to use that hand to push my shoulders towards to face the right, okay? And then I'm going to inhale the right hand up and exhale, let it fall back behind me, being certain to keep my feet on the ground. Hold on to whatever I have between the knees. Sitting up nice and tall. Reaching the chin over the right shoulder. Feeling like a wrung out dish towel. One more long inhale and exhale here. And bring the head back to center. And go ahead and unravel the arms. Go ahead and shake it out. If you need to take a break with that active leg, you can shake your legs out if you want. You may not need it. Activate the legs again, grabbing the pillow between the knees, sitting up nice and tall. Squeeze that belly button towards the spine. Let's take the back of our right palm, rest it against the outside of our left thigh. Use that pressure to go ahead and help you twist the shoulders towards the left side. Inhale the left arm. And exhale, let it fall back behind you. Wherever it falls is perfect. Reaching the chin so that it gazes out over the left shoulder. One more long inhale and exhale here. And go ahead and inhale the head to forward. And unravel the arms. Very good. Let's do a few circles here with the shoulders. Rotating the shoulders. Up and down and back. And you can reverse it so that they're moving forward. And let's go ahead and shake out anything else that needs shook before we go ahead and come to standing. To come to standing, we're going to come onto the edge of our chair. We are going to make sure our heels are right underneath our knees. We are going to exhale all of the air. And on an inhale, we're going to hinge our bodies forward, but push the floor away from us. Okay? Coming to standing, I'm going to back up here so you can see me a little better. Okay. We're going to do some work with the seated chair. So I'm going to psych you out a little. All right, we're standing in front of the chair. We're going to keep the back of our knees right at the seat of the chair there. And we're just going to focus on bending the knees, okay? And you can do whatever you want with your hands. I'm going to show you a couple of different variations so that you can feel okay. If you want to keep them on your thighs, that's okay. Okay, if you want to keep them in heart position, in prayer pose, you can keep them there. If you want to keep them up high, you can do that. If it's easier for you to keep them out to your side, okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to pretend to sit in the chair, but we're going to get back up before we actually sit down, okay? So the chair is really there for your protection in case you lose your strength at any point, you can plop down into the chair, no problem. But that's not what we're going to do because you are all very strong. Okay? So we're going to sit, and I'm going to, I show you another version. If you want to do a dynamic version, you can go ahead and arms here in a W, and you're reaching the sit bones for the chair, and then pushing the floor away from you. You go back into an inhale, and arms come up. And exhale, flexing the knees. And inhale, pushing the floor away from you. We are building muscle in the thigh, which runs to the knee. So, and inhaling up. And exhaling down. Last time. And come back to stand. Exhale the hands down. Let's just do a little bit of a free flow here. You let your arms fly and let your palms smack the body wherever they land, waking up the fascia here, stimulating that little membrane between the skin and the muscles. And come back to center, slowly letting it go. We're going to come back to the side of our chair now. So standing behind the chair with the side of the chair facing your hip. I'm going to work a little bit on some balancing. Okay, so just check in with your feet first. Go ahead and notice the distribution of the weight between legs and then between toes. Notice if there is a part of the foot where you may be placing more weight than the other. And then make a very conscious effort to equally distribute the weight between the big toe and the little toe, so that you have this kind of triangle between the big toe, little toe, and heel that's really pushing the floor away from the body. In fact, let's bend the knees just slightly. And what I want us to do is, in the straightening of the knees, push the floor away from you to create really strong, active legs. Very good. That was a good one. And then go ahead and rock from one side to the other. Notice the difference of sensation in the feet and the body when the balance is not equally distributed. And then in this gentle sway, once you get the weight onto the leg that is closest to the chair, we'll call that the standing leg, go ahead and bring in the leg, the right leg, into your arch, just barely balanced there. And check to see if you can take your hand off the chair. This is a little check for you. If not, that's okay, keep your hand there. Now check in with this hip. What tends to happen when we're compensating is we jut that hip out as a way to help us push that hip in, reach it up to the sky, and whenever you're ready, let's place the heel on the calf. Okay, find the tree in you, or find yourself in the tree, whichever you prefer. And you'll notice that if balance starts to go, it's because those toes are lifting up off the ground. Push those toes into the ground, pushing the ground away from the body. Very good. Drop the hands. Go ahead and exhale, lower the leg, and shake that base leg out. Okay. We're going to take a wider stance here before we go on to the other side. Toes are facing forward. I know that you may not be able to see my feet because of the way my office is. I don't have, it's not a big enough space for you to see my face and my feet sometimes. Let's see. Okay. All right, so feet are going to be wide. Take that stance just as wide as you can without feeling unstable. And I want us to do that same thing where we take our weight from one side to the other. But this time what we're going to do is we're going to bend those knees. Let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to bend this knee. And then I'm going to bend this knee. So you're going from one side to the other, bending the knee, keeping the feet and knees forward. We're strengthening and lengthening here while we're working with the balance. And then come back to center. Go ahead and turn those toes out just a little bit. So not too much, just a little. And I want us to just flex those knees enough to where they're right over our toes. If my knees are going in, then I'm going too deep. This is a very, very micro movement. So I'm opening those hips. I'm using those muscles in my thighs in order to help push the floor away from my body. And push the floor away. One more time. There you go. Go ahead and take those toes and move them back towards the front. And then we're going to take the other side, do our tree pose. Okay. So here we are. Again, we're going to check in with our feet. Be sure that our weight is equally distributed. Find our grounding. Feel the roots from the earth's energy coming up and feeding into your toes as you create complete stability. And then rock the weight onto your standing leg, which is closest to the chair. Bring that other leg in slightly. Check in with your hip to make sure that you're really tight and lifting up there. And when you're ready, take the foot and rest it just below the knee on the calf. Bring the hands. Prayer pose. You can have one hand and maintain one on the chair if you'd like. One more inhale and exhale here. And dropping the hands, sliding that foot down slowly. Let's widen the stance. as wide as you feel comfortable. We're going to bend the knee from one side to the other, keeping the hips nice and straight, building strength. Remember that pushing the floor away from the body activates all the muscles. Use the floor as a support. Last time. And come back to center. Turn those toes out just a little bit, not too much. And then let's do a small bend of the knees, small flexing of the knees there, being certain that the knees are really pushing back towards the toes so that they're shooting out over the toes. Push the ground away from you. And go ahead and flex those knees. You should really feel this in the thigh. Push the floor away from you. One more time. And push the floor away. Close those toes so they're facing forward. And then you can shake the legs out. Okay. We're going to do just a slight, you know what, now that we're here, let's do a little lunge, okay? So you can keep your, we're going to do the chair here. You can keep the chair wherever it is because we're going to just face the chair here. Hips are facing the back of the chair. Feet are pointing forward. And I just want us to exhale and take one big step back with the right leg, pushing through the heel. If this is where you're at, that's okay. If this is where you're at, that's okay too. Bigger isn't always better. We are working to push through that heel, working our way to get that heel towards the ground. Chest is high. Hips are forward. We're finding stability in our lunge. Very, very short lunge, lengthening through that back leg. And if you want to take it deeper, you can toss that foot up off the ground. Now we're no longer working to push that heel towards the ground. We are working to distribute the weight between the back foot and the front foot. You'll notice a much different stretch here. Not on the back leg, but on the front leg. On the front of the back leg, I should say. The chair is your friend. You can use it to help stabilize you. And then go ahead and straighten that front leg. So now we have two legs that are straight. I'm going to take the front leg and scissor it so that it's a little bit closer to my body. That way I can push off the back leg and come back to standing. Okay, we've got the other leg to do now. It's just a lunge in two parts, so a kind of shallow and then a deeper one. So standing up nice and straight, lengthening through the back neck. I'm going to exhale the left foot back, pushing through the heel. My front leg is bent so that my knee is right over my heel. My hips are forward. I can hold on to the chair if that helps me. I can also bring the hands to prayer pose. You should feel this in your calves. And stretching out the back of the knees. And then if you want to, only if your body says it's okay, lift that heel of the back leg off and deepen the lunge just a tad. Really finding that distribution between the front and back leg, right in the center. Hips are forward. You should feel that on the front part of the back leg. You can hold on to the chair. That helps you for stability. And then straightening that front leg. Go ahead and scissor the front leg so that it's a little closer to you. And then push off the back leg and come out to standing. Okay. One more thing we're going to do here with the chair. Place the hands on the back of the chair here. Make sure that your chair is not going to come back on top of you. Place a fair amount of weight on the chair, okay, but not enough to make it fall. And walk your feet back so that you're stretching the hips away from the fingertips, okay? A kind of chair-based down dog. You can bend one knee and feel the difference in stretch. Straighten it and bend the other. Notice the differences. Come back to center. Raise your gaze, looking at the back of the chair, and then walk your feet in. Okay? Slowly go ahead and come back around the front of our chair. We'll have a seat here. And then, oh, I love the way you sat down so elegantly. I didn't even give you the cue. Okay, we're going to do a little bit with arms, like forearms and hands, okay? But if there is anything else that you'd like us to make sure we get to today, go ahead and unmute yourself and let me know so that I can weave it into the last part of class. Nothing? Everybody feels good? Okay. All right, so we're going to, Jackie, let's see what you have to say there. Oh, everything's good? Okay, all right. So let's start with hands before we do this kind of forearm and open chest. We're going to do our same hand exercise that we do all the time because it's just brilliant and I love it, and I know you do too. So let's go ahead and push the palms together, and we're going to peel the palms away from each other while we push the fingers together. So you really get a long stretch behind those knuckles. Really feel that stretching and lengthening behind the knuckle. And go ahead and exhale and lower those elbows, push the palms together. Keep the pinky and thumb pressing together as you open the fingers away from you. We're creating a lotus with our hands, drinking from the flower of abundance. And go ahead and push all the fingers back together. Peel the palms away from each other, lifting the elbows. My fingers are pressed hard together, my palms are pulling away. So you should really feel that stretch behind the knuckles of each and every finger. And go ahead and lower those elbows, keeping the finger, the thumb and the pinky pressed together. Open the fingers away from each other. And last time, peel the palms away as we raise the elbows. And drop the elbows. Go ahead and shake out the hands. Okay. We're going to do two different things that with the arms today. I want us to take our right arm and raise it all the way up, and then bend it back like we want to pat ourselves on the back. And just go to wherever your limit is. Now that you're here, check in with that belly button. Because what tends to happen is that in order to get my arm up here, I do this. I arch my lower back. So now push that belly button back towards the spine. And if you want a little extra help, you can take this hand up here and hold on to the elbow. Sitting up nice and tall. You can give it a little extra layer if you want, just reaching slightly away from that. There you go. Take a deep breath. And go ahead and undo the arms. We're going to do the other side now, so taking the left arm all the way up as high as you can, reaching for the sky, and then let that bend at the elbow, look to pat your back, reaching for it. It's okay if you don't get there. If your hand is just here behind your head, that's okay. We love and respect our own limitations. There's nowhere to get, just reaching for it. Check in with your belly, make sure that belly button is pressing back towards the spine, that the core is nice and active. You can give yourself an extra layer here by grabbing on to the elbow. It'll give you a little bit of a different stretch. And exhale, let the arms loose. We're just going to do one more breath and arm work. I've done this before in a couple classes, so I think you know it. It's the Ganesh Mudra. We make a kind of lock with our hands, first with the left on top, right on bottom. And when we inhale, we don't have any pressure on the arms, but when we exhale, we're going to try like heck to unlock those arms. So we're going to hold on to each other's to our hands, but we're going to pull the elbows away from the hands like we want to unlock them, okay? And then when we inhale, we let them loose again. And exhale, pull them away like you want to escape them. And inhale, let them loose. And exhale, pull them apart. And inhale, let them loose. Let's change so that the right hand is on top now. Right hand on top, creating the same lock. Inhale, exhale, pull them apart. Inhale. And exhale, pull them apart. This is the last time. And let it drop. Okay. I'm going to check in with everyone. Okay. I think I've got you unmuted. Seems like there's something silly with Zoom lately. It doesn't allow me to, it allows me to mute you all, but it doesn't allow me to unmute you. Very weird.
I unmuted myself.
Okay, thank you. So we have a few more, we don't have a few more minutes. We're right on time, but we did get a little bit of a later start. Is there anything that you would like me to weave into the relaxation at the end? Anything that you feel you need a little bit of?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, dropping into that meditative state of the witness, of the observer. You can lie down or sit in your chair. Simply turn your attention inward. Scan the body, noticing all of the subtle shifts and changes that have taken place since the start of today's practice. And anywhere your attention touches, simply let loose and sink deeper into a profound state of awareness and relaxation. Scanning the body, the toes, the instep, the heel, and the ankle. Simply let loose. Every nerve, tendon, ligament, and muscle is now receiving the very deserved break. It's awaited. Journeying up the leg, the calf, and the knee, and the thigh. Strengthened and lengthened, and now in a pure resting state. As we journey in and around the hip, so as the pelvic floor, scanning each and every part of the body, taking note all of our vital organs, in and between each and every rib, arm, elbow, forearm, and fingers. Allow your attention to caress the sternum and all of the tiny ligaments that support the cranium, neck, spine, shoulders, all of the teeny tiny muscles in the face, each and every hair follicle. Allow your attention to rest there on the crown of your head. And hear the words as I say them, repeating them in your mind. Today, I give thanks to the Great Spirit that guides me, both within and without. May this guidance give me strength as I walk this path of healing. May I grow more compassionate, empathetic, and loving, not in spite of my grief, not in spite of my loss and experience, but because of them. May I never take a single moment for granted. May I honor this in all moments as sacred. And as you internalize those words, bring into light anything else that you'd like to say or state. I will sing Om to close class just one time. Feel free to sing along with me or simply allow the vibration to find your psyche. Thank you so much for coming and practicing today, for holding this space for me. Satnam.
Oh, damn it.
Uh-oh, are you okay?
Yep. The glass bottle fell out and fell on the floor. My husband went to the door.
Uh-oh.
The milk carton through the door.
Hurry.